Welcome back. We will now identify the goals of guidance and discipline. All right, the goals of guidance. What is the purpose of guidance? We want children to be productive. We want children to think critically about their actions and to solve their own problems. We cannot, however, expect them to be able to do so on their own every single time. This would be unreasonable. Each problem that arises can and should be viewed as a teachable moment. In a classroom setting, we need to be encouraging pro-social behavior where children care for and get along with others. This is a very important part of development. Getting along with others is a life skill that must be encouraged and taught. For some children, this comes naturally, while others will clearly need support, guidance, and encouragement. We want children to understand what it means to be productive members of a group. So, for instance, in this picture, you see several children working together to clean up a sidewalk. Working together in groups like this is a great way to teach pro-social behavior skills and teamwork. So what is social competence? Social competence is the ability to participate in a group setting. It is the ability to state one's own needs while recognizing the needs of others and the needs of a group. For young children, this can be difficult. Think back to what you know about development. Perspective taking is not accomplished until a child can decentralize or recognize that other people have needs that are different from their own. This is even hard for some adults, right? And finally, children need to understand the logical and natural consequences of their behavior. As adults, we need to make sure that we are offering appropriate guidance that addresses the unmet needs that has caused a behavior to arise. So we will look more in depth at this next week. All right, so what guidance is not? Guidance is not punishment. It is not punitive. It is not degrading. It is not loud or overbearing or overemphasized. Guidance is a way to teach children to manage their own problems, to solve their problems, to interact in groups, to work together, and to get their needs met in appropriate ways. Now let's look at some of the theoretical frameworks of guidance. Where do we get these ideas from? So let's start by looking at Frederick Froebel. You might remember him as the father of the kindergarten, or the originator of kindergarten. He believed that the nature of a child was essentially good, and that the purpose of education was guidance. Children's impulses really could be developed through creative activity. He believed, again, that children were inherently good, and that the real purpose of education was guidance. And then Maria Montessori. So the slide says, when children are part of their educational process, they will learn self-discipline. So Montessori valued child-led activities. She believed that if children are provided choices in their educational and recreational tasks at school, that minimal behaviors would arise and that children would learn self-discipline. What do you think? And John Dewey. Dewey was really a pioneer in the project-based learning approach. He believed that through the development of projects, children would learn to cooperate and to be social. And finally, John Piaget. So Piaget, as some of you have heard me mention before, if you've had me for child development or other classes, Piaget was the actions on objects guy. He believed that children made sense of the world around them through actions on objects in their immediate surroundings. Essentially, children learn through play. It is also important to note that Piaget did not believe that children's thoughts, perceptions, or ideas were inferior to adults, just different, and that adults should acknowledge those differences and not force adult expectations on children. You can see where those ideas really become important in this idea of guidance. If we really look at children's behavior as just that, behavior and ways that children express themselves, the way that children play, the way that children interact in their environment, if we just look at it for what it is and recognize that within those parameters, within play, within children's actions on objects, they are learning to interact in their environments, that's really what guidance is all about. All right, we're going to pause here and we'll be back in just a moment.